Hello, everybody.
Hello, Ben.
Hello. Can I start? I'm starting. Great. Right, I didn't know this morning when I got out of bed that there was going to be a big bridge-related bit of news happening today. Fortunately, roughly 50% of my presentation is about bridges. Okay? So I'm sorry, it's probably a little bit inappropriate.
Relevant.
The other problem I've got is that I actually delivered this session on Friday and it was a 45-minute session. Now, I haven't cut any slides out, but I'm going to talk 3 times faster. Is that all right? Perfect. Can anyone name this bridge? Dave. No. Humber Bridge. Who said Humber Bridge? Well done, Yuri. Humber Bridge. So, yeah, well, it's the best bridge in the country, isn't it? I mean, it's in Yorkshire. So, anyway, I'm going to be talking... I haven't mentioned anything about Leeds yet. We're top of the table, I think, aren't we? Yes?
In what league, though?
The only one that matters. All right? The only one that matters. Anyway, okay, so we're going to be talking about migrations today, okay? But I've got a really good analogy that's based on based on bridges. Okay, so forget the news you've heard this morning. Right, so what I want to do first, I want to take you to Honduras. Not literally, just in the slide deck. Okay, so first off, this is a city in the south of Honduras called Choluteca. Now, Choluteca has got 2 bridges in it. It's got this one in the south, the old Choluteca Bridge. Can you hear me if I don't use the microphone? It's a small room, isn't it? This is the old Choluteca Bridge built in the 1930s, and this is sort of based on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And then you've got this new one up here called surprisingly, the new Choluteca Bridge. Now, I don't know what you know about Honduras, but Honduras tends to get hit quite often by massive hurricanes and tropical cyclones. Okay, and whenever these things sort of hit Central America, they tend to barrel through, and they cause lots of damage. They cause the rivers to flood, they knock down bridges, I'm so sorry. They knock down bridges, they wash out roads, they destroy lots and lots of infrastructure. So in 1998, Honduras, and especially the city of Choluteca, decided to build a brand new bridge. They built a bridge that would be resistant to weather. Pretty much anything that Mother Nature could throw at it. They built it out of concrete, low profile, and this thing was built to last. Now, a couple of months after they opened this bridge, Hurricane Mitch hit Honduras. Anyone remember Hurricane Mitch? It was big news at the time. Some of you might not be old enough. Me, read about it on the news. Hurricane Mitch, still the second most powerful event to hit Honduras. It caused lots and lots of damage. It wiped out bridges right across the country. It wiped out roads, caused massive amounts of infrastructure damage. Now, this bridge, the new Choluteca Bridge, what do you think happened to it? What was that, James? It got destroyed? Anyone else? Flooded? Okay. Well, Hurricane Mitch was so strong and so powerful. The bridge survived, but it was so powerful that it moved the river. So in Honduras, this bridge became known as the road to nowhere. Okay? The bridge survived, the bridge did its job. Can you see where I'm going with this analogy? Good. Hopefully it's worth the awful news. Oh no, I shouldn't put it like that. Hopefully it's worth doing this analogy. So, I'm going to stick some labels on this, okay? And hopefully it will become pretty evident where I'm trying to go with this. IT. Most people in IT are trying to get to modern workspace beach. Okay? And that could be laptops, it could be AVD, it could be Intune. Generally, a lot of people that I'm speaking to are trying to move from legacy, whatever that is, I'm not going to mention any names now, to modern workspace. And a lot of people I'm talking to, and have been talking to for the past couple of years, built an EUC platform that they believed would be able to weather anything. And they built some really, really good platforms. Some amazing platforms, and those platforms are still massively in place to a large extent. But what do you do? I've got to be careful with this. What do you do when your VDI vendor maybe moves away from you? Maybe, and again, not mentioning any names here, maybe massively increases the price of the software that you're using. Or maybe there's some sort of disruption at the organisation. You've built this EUC platform.
What sort of disruption?
Hurricanes. You've built this EUC platform that may have been, using this VDI vendor as a core plank or a core river. It breaks down a little bit. As a core plank of the strategy. What do you do when you suddenly see that you need to move on and do something different? Well, what they did in Honduras, this gets laboured. What they did in Honduras is they just built a new bridge over where the river is right now and built new roads. They reattached it, okay? Now, there is a vendor that can potentially help you do the same thing if your VDI vendor or any technology vendor has moved away from you, okay? How tenuous was that link? Thank you. Right, thanks everyone.
Not quite John Moody levels, but not bad.
And this is me illustrating the point. So potentially you were the old vendor and you're not very happy, but Liquit can help you get to your new vendor. That's a happy face. Apparently, that's a happy emoji. Right. And I'm going to talk to you now about the way we actually help you do this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to use this concept. It's the concept of a universal app. Now, the reason I've used the Visual Studio logo is because it's pretty. Okay, no other real reason. If you think about the way different organizations are delivering applications, they'll be doing lots of different things. Okay, and you would have seen this, whether or not you're a vendor, a partner, or an end user, you would have seen this. So applications could be delivered local install on Windows, okay? And everyone here is probably doing a local install on an endpoint, could be PC, could be laptop. It could be a SaaS-based application or a web-based application. Most of us are either using or helping people use SaaS-based applications. Or it could be a local install on Mac. Who here, if you're an end customer, is using Mac in the enterprise at the moment? Show of hands. Okay, not many of you. Okay, fine. But you may have the requirement to install an application locally on Mac. And then there's this one. Maybe you want to deliver your application via VDI. That could be a VDI desktop. It could potentially be a published application. But generally, whenever we're talking about applications, we're talking about delivering them in all of these 4 different ways. Now, this idea of a universal app comes in because Liquid can help you to deliver your applications in any way you choose. Maybe you're currently deploying your application using a VDI platform. Maybe you want to move really quickly to deploying your applications locally on Windows. Maybe you want to move them to SaaS. This is where Liquid comes in. So I've got a pre-recorded video. Everybody loves those. Don't worry, I'm going to narrate it. So I'm going to walk through exactly what that looks like. And hopefully the bridge analogy will sort of make sense as we go through this. This is what Liquid looks like. This is Windows 11 and this is Liquid. Now I'm signed in as an Azure AD user called Angie. That's actually my wife's picture. She doesn't know I've stolen her identity, or she doesn't know it doesn't hurt her. So I've logged in as an Azure AD user, single signed in into the Liquid launcher. So as a user, I've got access to loads of different applications. I've also got an application catalog. So I can click on the catalog, or she can click on the catalog, and then she can go through and grab any of the applications that she's got an entitlement to. Here we go. And these are applications that you can make available. But the really cool thing that we do about these applications is we will change on the fly what application type is being delivered. And the user doesn't have to know any different. Now, the applications down the side are also being delivered by Liquid. So we'll create shortcuts both through the launcher and also in the start menu and also on the desktop. So if Angie clicks on Word, what's going to happen initially is that's going to launch Horizon. So maybe you're an organization that's using VDI at the moment, you're publishing Word, you click on Word, it's then going to launch Horizon for you. Okay? Anyone here using Horizon? Popular. It's very popular then, isn't it?
VMware.
Yeah, no, not even you. Okay. I love it. I love Horizon, by the way. Anyway, moving on. So this user has just clicked on Word, and what it's done, surprisingly or shockingly, is it's launched Word via Horizon. Great solution. But what if, as an organization, you want to change how Horizon is being used by your end users? Maybe you still want to use Horizon, but you want to do it in a slightly different way or slightly different strategy, or different users, you may want to give them access to a different version of the application or a different type of application delivery mechanism. You can do that. This is the Liquid backend. If I click on Word, if I click on Actions, up here is what happens when you want to install the application. Liquid will do that on macOS and on Windows. And this is where the magic happens. You can see here, Open Word in VMware Horizon is the top option. Now we can change that instantly. We can just go in and we can say, well, actually, instead of opening this in Horizon, what we want to do is launch this as a local application on the endpoint. So all we need to do is go in and just grab that, start Word locally, Windows, drag it to the top. What we can then do is we can take this workflow, this new workflow that we've just changed, and by the way, this is the manual way of doing it. It doesn't have to be like this. You can do this automatically. So I've now dragged this from development and put it into production. If I close down Word that's open in Horizon and click on it again, it's going to launch the application locally. Okay, so that was an instant change. I haven't shortened any sequences here. If you want to change how the application is being delivered, it's as simple as that. There's no migration, there's nothing else you need to do. You just change how that particular application is being delivered. We do some really, really cool stuff with the shortcuts to make this happen. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but come and see me at the booth, and I'll walk you through it. I've already walked some of you through this stuff. So that's what it looks like. That's opening Word, and it's single sign-me on, as a locally installed application. If it wasn't installed, it would then install it for you. Okay, well, we can do even more cool stuff here. We can potentially go in, and we can say, well, actually, we want to open Word in the browser. Exactly the same process. So all I need to do is take it from development, drop it into production, do a quick refresh, and then click on Word, and this time it's going to open it in the browser. Okay, again, these are instant actions. There's no waiting, I don't know, 3 minutes, 3 hours, or 3 days for this to happen. This will happen straight away. This is how you do it as a sort of a manual process. Now, what about Mac OS? Well, we can do exactly the same thing. So you can see I've got Mac OS and I've got Windows. We have this concept of filters. We can actually detect, I'm talking quick by the way because 45 minutes, we can actually detect what the OS is, and then based on that, we will launch the right application. So this is Mac OS. I'm running this on an ancient Mac Mini. So all I need to do is go in, and the look and feel, the experience, the UI is exactly the same. Click on refresh, click on Word, it's then going to launch it locally. And if it wasn't already installed, it would install it for me automatically. Any questions so far? Hold them to the end. Right, so that's what it looks like on Mac OS, launching Word locally. Horizon would work, potentially. If you had Citrix, that would do the same thing. If you had AVD, that would do the same thing too. We'll integrate, we have connectors into all of those different solutions. So at the top here, you can see we've got Windows. Okay, and what this is doing is, this particular action is connecting to Word, okay, traditional Word.exe. But we can go in and we can actually filter this. So I can say, well, actually, if it's Windows, it's going to detect that it's Windows, and this is the only action it's ever going to launch. And after it's done that action successfully, it will then stop running through the actions. But then we can say, well, okay. So there we go. Stop running through the actions. I know that's quite quick. Mac OS, we're going to do the same thing. But this time, we're going to detect whether or not it's Mac OS. There we go. So that way we can make sure that automatically the right version of the application is launching based on whatever the context of the device is. What the operating system is, what the context is, and who the user is, and what the context of that user is. So that's how we do it in a very, very sort of manual way. But we can change this too. Okay, so we could put a filter in. There we go. So we could put a filter in to say, well, look, if it's older than Windows 11 potentially, what we want to happen is that application will always be a virtual application delivered from, let's say, AVD. But if it's Windows 11, I'm going to show you some filters shortly. If it's Windows 11, actually, we want the application to always be installed. And you could change your application estate. You could change your device estate, potentially. You could say, right, we're upgrading from Windows 10 to Windows 11. We automatically want the right application to be delivered. So you can see I'm doing that here. Context, based on whatever the platform is at the moment. If it's Windows 11, then it's always going to run and install the application locally.
Good question. Can you filter based on if it's managed or unmanaged? So like Intune managed versus not managed.
Hold on a second. Oh, you messed it up now, Craig. So basically, yes, you can filter on anything you want to filter on. In fact, let me just come out of the... Oh, I'm going to wing this. I'm going to come out of the presentation. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is the back end. Oh, no, it's not. This is what the back end looks like. So I'll click on here. So you can see this is live. This is the management console and what it looks like. I can click on packages. I can scroll down to Word, as I just did in that particular example. And then in here, I can choose pretty much any filter that I want. So I go into open Word in browser, go to filter, and these are all the different filters that we can choose from. So I can go in here, file exists, certificate is running. It could be subnet. We've got this concept of context as well. And you can say, well, based on Azure AD information, maybe the user's based in Leeds. There we go. Then if they're based in Leeds, they get all the cool stuff. You know, they get the LUFC background. They get, and you understand, we can pull back so many different contexts from the end user: platform version, platform language, environmental variables. We can run scripts. We can run WMI queries based on what comes from that endpoint. And that could be, it could be a virtual endpoint. It could be AVD gold image, it could be Windows 365, it could be Mac OS, could be Windows. Then based on that, we will make sure they get the right application every time. So that's what we do when it comes to the application delivery piece. Now what this means is, if you do have users who are currently using something like, I don't know, I'm not going to mention it, a VDI platform that they've been using for a long time where the cost has increased massively recently, and maybe they want to move to local install, it really is as simple as saying, well, actually, for this group of users, we're going to do this. we're going to install the application locally. Now, one other thing. How much time have I got?
You're over, mate.
Sorry?
I think you're over. Just keep going.
Well, until I get kicked out like the last guy did. So what we can do, we have something called the Liquit Setup Store. And in here we have over 4,000 Windows applications. We will update those applications for you. You can just simply go in, you can click on an application, you can deploy that application exactly the same way that you've just seen with all of our automation. Very soon we're going to have over 1,000 Mac applications in there too. So if you've got Windows, you've got Mac OS, you can deploy the applications automatically from Liquid, and you can deploy the right one at the right time. So I just want to do a very quick summary for you. Here we go. You can see I have cut some of the slides out. This would have been a much bigger session otherwise. So, summary. We can deploy new apps to Windows and Mac OS endpoints. We have got the largest application store, over 4,000 applications, soon going to be well over 5,000 applications. We control the launch of applications too. And every time somebody clicks on one of those applications, one of those shortcuts, we grab that information. We know when a user, we know which user, we know whether or not that action has been successful. We have a lot of telemetry coming back from those end users. We're independent of existing platforms. So if a user's using SCCM, in fact, this is one of the big conversations we're having. Customers using SCCM, or even stuff like ZenWorks, we can help them move to Intune. We can do the application deployment. We can do really, really cool integration with Autopilot. Change when, where, and how applications are launched, and a really powerful automation engine. If you want some more information on this, got some cool shortcuts there. Got them? Good. If you want a demo, scan the QR code. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully you know a lot more about bridges.